Welcome to another episode of Prepper Talk Radio, radio for the ready-minded. We've got Scott and myself in the house today with a special guest, Matt Garlick, who is the owner of NorthStar Survival. That's his website. We're going to be talking to him today about his store, about his background, about what he sees in the future for survival and emergency preparedness, some of the things we need to be prepared for and be looking for. So we're going to have a great discussion today. Before we jump into that, though, just want to remind everybody, go to preppertalkradio.com and look at all of our resources that are there. We've got some affiliate links so you can support the show. And the first one we want to really kind of share with you, everybody that's been paying attention right now to the economy has seen how the dollar is not doing very well. Our economy is not doing very well. And anybody who's been watching how the dollar has been going should know that precious metals are a great way to hedge against inflation and to store value. Money, gold is God's money. It's real money. And if you want to know more about how you can have gold as a part of your portfolio, please visit learn.itmtrading.com/prepper talk or call 1-866-257-0481 for a free consultation. That's 1-866-257-0481 and call today to get your free consultation on how gold and silver can be a great part of your portfolio. All right, with that out of the way, let's talk to Matt. Matt, you got NorthStar Survival. I think just another plug for going to events and being a part of the community. I met Matt probably 2 years ago now at a Be Prepared Expo. It was the one in Mountain America back when they had it in Mountain America. I met him. He had a booth there with his store. And he was showing all of his products and all the things that he has available at his store, which again is NorthStar Survival. We're going to have a link in the description below for everybody who wants to be able to purchase something. So if you're going to go purchase something at NorthStar Survival, please use the link in the description below so that you can actually support the show and support Matt as well as we all move forward. So tell us a little bit about your story. Like everybody who I've ever had, who we've ever had on the show, who's had a store or a product that is for preppers, by preppers, for preppers, is got a background in preparedness and desire to be prepared all the time. So tell us a little bit about where you got started in prepping. Is it something you've done your whole life, or was there an event that happened that kind of woke you up to the reality of it, or what? Tell us your story.
Yeah, I think where I start, it's really just the Boy Scout in me originally, just be prepared. I just always liked that motto. But honestly, I think when COVID happened, I've always believed in the philosophy, just being prepared in all aspects of your life. Be prepared, be prepared, be prepared. You never know what's going to happen. I was taught by my parents, over prepare. My mom was a little over prepared in most trips, everything. That's just how I was raised. And so when COVID started, I think it just woke everyone up again. I mean, I'm sure you guys have talked about COVID a lot in your past shows, but I just wanted to be, I saw a lot of families that were overwhelmed. They thought that to be a prepper, you needed to be a doomsday prepper. Like you needed to just build a bunker, go all out, just drop 20 grand on just everything. When
20 grand would be a huge savings.
Yeah.
Like people that want to, here's the thing. Like a lot of people, they think that way. They watch like the Doomsday Preppers TV shows, or they've watched the movie, and in the movie they've got a guy that's a prepper. Like I'll just throw out the example of Burt Gummer. If you haven't watched Tremors, you need to go back and watch that. He's like the world's best prepper. I'm gonna throw air quotes out there, but he's got like 80 grand just in guns in his basement, right? And he's got that's just in guns, and then he's got his food storage, then he's got everything else, and radios, and it could go on and on and on, right? The doomsday side of things, it's a 6-figure investment if you want to go crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's what we need to remind everybody. Like the doomsday prepper mindset and bankroll, it requires more crazy and requires more money. Whereas the standard preparedness minded person, which is where I would say 95% of preppers lie in the spectrum of prepping, in the I need to be better prepared for my family in case of an emergency. What if we have a car accident? What if we have a tire go flat? What if I lose my job? What if we have a life changing injury in the household, and now I've got to change some things up. Like, that's what most people are prepping for. What if there's an earthquake? What if there's a fire?
Mm-hmm.
That's you're a prepper. If you are worried about those things and you're doing things to prepare yourself and make yourself more resilient for those things, I've got news for you. You're a prepper.
Right.
But
I
you
just,
don't
I
have
think
to
with
think
the,
that you're crazy.
yeah. And I think with that word prepper, people don't want to be affiliated with the craziness. And my main goal was to view prepping as just a way of life. It's more just common sense. Like basically COVID showed us that having extra food and savings is just it's really just common sense. Like we see the chaos in the world right now, and my goal is just to be a resource for people that they can come to me and I can help them out. I'm not going to pretend that my 72-hour kits are the greatest on the whole market, but they're better than, they're solid for the family that just wants to get their foot in the door and just start. You got to start somewhere. And my goal is we can start you with the 72-hour kit and build from there, gradually building your week-long storage, then your 2-week, then your month, then your 3-month, and then hopefully you can get to 6 to a year. The more communities around us that are prepared, it's safer for all of us, because if there is something crazy that happened, we saw with COVID, people do crazy stuff, and so if your next door neighbors aren't prepared and you're the one that has all the stuff, it can be dangerous. And so I wanted to just be easy, just because I think most people feel the guilt a little bit. They know they need to be prepared better. They're not prepared as they should be, but they don't really know where to start, and they just get overwhelmed. And so they just keep procrastinating, putting it off. And then,
It's too late.
And then it's a year later and they're like, oh crap, I should have done that. And then, I mean,
One of our goals next in the near future, Matt, is to put out a course from beginning to end, like how to become prepared. What's the first thing you should do all the way through? So if a brand new person who's getting into it will know, like, step 1, step 2, step 3, and then somebody who's been doing it for a long time, they're going to be able to cruise through several of the steps, but we're going to have some stuff in there for those guys as well. But so you want to be prepared. You had 2012 kind of wake up call. Yeah. However, there's a difference between wanting to be prepared and being woken up, and then actually starting a business where you're going to sell the stuff and a website and do it as a business owner. What pushed you over that edge and got you to the point where you were willing to start a whole business and really kind of provide products for people?
I saw a need. I feel like people, I honestly just genuinely, and you can believe me or not, I just really wanted to be a resource for people. I feel like it's such an overwhelming process. I just, if I can help them in any way, whether they buy from my store or anywhere, like, it's just better for the world if they become more prepared. So it was just a genuine feel like, let's start. It really, like, honestly mainly started with strictly 72-hour kits. That's where I started. And then I kind of branched out to other things, food storage and other survival / just, outdoor type stuff. But I mean, it's definitely a big step just to, let's just start a business. Like, it wasn't just like, I can make a ton of money right now because everyone's panicking. Like, no, it was just people panic because they don't know where to go. They don't know where to start. They don't know. And I just wanted to be that, help them be, again, just another beacon, another resource in the marketplace. There's a lot of them, but it's helpful to have, someone that you can trust and be that source for them.
The challenge is a lot of people get caught in a deer in the headlights, and that's kind of, they see all this stuff and they're like, oh, and they kind of freeze and they don't know how to prioritize. And so you and all these other store owners and all these other outlets of service and training and good information, it's like, there's not enough, but there's also not an abundance of training and other options out there that are available to people. It's like there's also not like a huge section located at Walmart of preparedness stuff. In Utah there is, and well, I shouldn't say huge. There's like an 8-foot section at Walmart,
Yeah.
right? And they've got the big water barrels, and then they've got some food, and they've got some different things. But it's like you go to the local grocery stores in Utah, and they have that as well. But like growing up out of the state, didn't see any of that at the stores.
Yeah.
You didn't think about, okay, what do I do? How do I get this stuff? And so my thing, prepared families create prepared communities.
Yep.
And it's like the more families we can help, just like you're talking about, the more families we can help, the better every community is going to be, the more resilient we're going to be, the more easily we can defend ourselves and our neighbors, because we are supposed to watch out for our brother and sister. And that's part of the whole calling of what we're doing. Mm-hmm. So to jump in and say, hey, I'm going to do a business, that's gutsy. Because that obviously one, it puts you as a resource, but also for the bad guys, it puts you as a target.
Right. And in my neighborhood, I mean, I've had people literally say to me that, I mean, if something bad happens, I'll just come to your house, and that kind of freaks my wife out a little bit. But
what's your response to them?
I always say, like, I'm a guy that has guns, and I'm going to protect my family. Like the father in me. And that's part of the reason why I don't understand is like, I could never let my kids go hungry just simply because of my negligence, just because of me simply not doing something that's really easy to do. And again, I know it's not in everyone's budget, but like the principle is still there. If you could go to Costco or anything and just gradually add, case lots or whatever to your food supply. So that's been just like, how could I let my kids, if something like major would happen where the trucking industry or the food, we saw a little bit of a food chain supply disruption, but it could happen and be much, much worse. Mm-hmm. How could I let my kids go hungry when it was just so avoidable and so easy? And that was just, that's kind of what I tell people. I'm like, it's just so easy. I'm literally like right across the street from you. I'm right here. And I'm going to give you a good deal on food storage, and you're still like not willing to buy. And so it is gutsy. It is. I definitely put myself out there. It's scary. Heaven forbid something insane happens in Utah, like an earthquake. I'm probably going to have a lot of people knocking on my door, but
I love what you said though about taking responsibility as a man. Our goal, one of our taglines for the show is God, family, and country. And if you're not taking care of yourself, one, you've got to be inspired to do it. And that's probably, if you're not being inspired to get food storage right now, you're really not paying attention, and your spiritual sensitivity needs to have a reboot. With all of the food processing plants that are up in flames, with all of the cows that have been killed and the crops that have been destroyed and the farmers that are like struggling, we're going to see some serious things here pretty soon. And food storage is critical, and it's no joke either. So, and having a variety, you want to have canned goods that you get at the store. You want to have freeze-dried foods you get at the thing. You want to have staples like beans and rice and other things. And you want to have some of these, dehydrated things. You have a variety of things that you're going to be able to use, because you don't want to eat beans and rice for a year.
No,
you're going to be just have a bunch of spices and other things.
Unless you're used to it, and that's what you already eat all year.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So be a man, dude. Like that. I love that. And then for the ladies that are listening, stand up and be the woman that you need to be for your family and the mother and all that. And men, be men, stand up, be fathers, be husbands, be masculine and protect. That's what we're supposed to do.
We need to be both men and women. We need leaders right now in this country. Like, we need more leaders in these communities. Like, we need to stand up. There's just so much nonsense going out there right now, and people are just letting stuff go by.
I used to tell people when they'd say, "Oh, I'll just come to your house when something goes bad." I used to tell them, and I wasn't as nice back then. I used to tell them, "Great, I've got a bullet now with your name on it." And I'd mostly say that for the sheer shock of it, the panic. Because then they'd be like, what? You're going to shoot me? Well, then I'd explain, well, you're coming to my house to take what I've bought, what I've saved, and what I've done to prepare my family. I didn't do this for you. I'm not doing this as a charity. I'm doing this for my family. So my responsibility is to them. And so if you're thinking you can come to my house and take, that puts you in the mindset of a criminal and you're planning on stealing. And so I'm planning on defending.
Right.
Well, I've changed that. That's still part of it. But now I say, well, great. What are you bringing?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, you're only allowed to come to my house if you're bringing resources that we can all use together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Otherwise,
Value
my
add.
resources aren't open.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, I've got to do something for myself.
Yeah.
I've noticed that like shifts their mind, their thinking so quickly. They're like, oh, if I don't bring anything, he won't let me in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be turned away.
And you could even go as far as to say something along the lines of, let's share resources. Then you bring your stuff and we'll add it to my stuff and we'll go, we'll be able to support each other. And then if they don't have anything, they might feel a little bit of that, righteous shame and righteous guilt.
Right? The guilty taketh the truth to be hard.
Bingo.
And they should.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, why should I, sorry, I got Alexa in the background, but why should I let my kids again, because you just neglected the simple thing that in my neighborhood, I have invited you over and over and over again. And I've reminded you over and over again to get your food storage. And I've promoted deals in my Facebook page in my neighborhood, like all the time, constantly, regularly. Why should I, and you literally see my garage that's full of food storage that I'm, selling. Why should I let my kids go hungry because you just didn't man up and do it?
Yeah. Amen to that.
Like, why? That's not fair to them.
Well, it's like the other cool thing is like, if you're preparing and you're consecrating that preparation to Heavenly Father anyways, and to God and his kingdom, like there will come a time where you can share and spend that among other people. But like, you also have to look at your own personal responsibility in life. And some people are stacking money away for their college education for their kids. Right. And some people are being more diversified because they're doing that. And then they're also getting food storage. And they're also getting, some gold and silver on the side. And they're also getting water and water filtration and safety and defense systems and tools and different things. And it's like, I want to be the most diversified person I can be to better prepare my family for any scenario that could come, whether it's college or a snowstorm that knocks out the power for a week.
Right.
I want to be equally ready for both.
Yeah.
But I don't ever want to be caught in a situation where we don't have resources to help get us through those hard times. Yeah. And that's the whole point. Like that's really the whole point is none of us will ever have enough for everybody.
Yeah.
Even the government doesn't have enough for everybody. Right. And that's where everyone thinks, well, the government will take care of me. How?
With that.
Watching what's going on in Maui right now.
Yeah. Maui. Yeah.
Perfect example. There is no outside help that's going to just show up and solve your problems for you.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, it'll cause more problems most of the time.
Right.
That's why self and community resilience are so important. Prepping is not just for doomsday, it's for every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's so many, like you said, it's not really one size fits all. It's not one dimensional. I mean, there's so many ways, like you said, gold and silver and all these different scenarios and aspects. It's just being diversified with your preparation. And obviously the ideal scenario would be that you could, your neighbors could come to you and you could just trade and barter and share. And like, that would be ideal. Like if everyone came together and we just had a safe, good community because everyone was diversified and prepped, like that would be sweet. Right. Like I would love to trade with my neighbors and stuff because we can just combine our resources and have more diversity that way. But
yeah, have one neighbor.
Who's got chickens? Who's got a rooster? Who's
right?
Who's
that would be down the hill. That would be the dream because it would just be so much safer and better that way. Yeah. And you could just continue to grow and move forward as a community and advance. Even if let's say there was no power, any of those things, but if everyone came together and you combine your resources, you could all survive much easier.
Yep. So, exactly.
Cool. Let's take a look at your website for a minute.
Okay.
So here we got, for those of you who are not on the audio part of this, you're not going to be able to see anything, but we'll talk a little bit as much as we can about what we're seeing. For those on the video on YouTube and Rumble, we're going to show his website here, NorthStar Survival. So this is the homepage, guidance when it matters. Fantastic. So it looks like you've got three main areas: survival kits. And so you got the storm kit. Tell us a little bit about, like, what are your main products that you sell the most or that are most popular, or what do you think?
Yeah, I would say the storm kit's pretty popular. I probably sell the most of that one. It's a waterproof bag. Can serve as a flotation device as well if there was flooding in flooding areas. I've tested on my own MacBook and everything. It's pretty cool. It's nice that it's bright and orange, so like if you were in trouble, people can see it, and just got your your essentials in it: water, calorie bar,
This is kind of like a
tents.
great bag for even throwing in your trunk.
Yeah, exactly. Just a simple, solid 72-hour kit: flashlight, AMF radio, phone charger, flint and steel.
Now, did you put these kits together with the materials, or did you find this like pre-made and then you just kind of promote it?
I kind of a little bit of both. I just designed it both. I just
Nice.
kind of made it my own custom thing.
Cool. And then earlier you mentioned, I see something here in the family survival kit. So this is a little bit more on the price tag, but it's definitely for the whole family. This looks like a portable toilet. Am I right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So the lid is a toilet seat.
The lid's a toilet seat. I'm telling you, dude, people don't think about that. So
Yeah.
I went camping with our church, the youth group, and we went camping, and I asked ahead of time. I was like, "Hey, how close are the bathrooms?" And they're like, "Oh, it's like a 10-minute drive, which is like a 30-minute hike." And I'm like, "But I gotta go, man. I don't want to, certain areas you got to be prepared for things ahead of time." Anyways, so I took a bucket like this. I got a seat that covered similar to that one, and I actually created a latrine, an outhouse with one of those, those individual, what are they? Those individual, like the shower tent. It's like a stand-up tent, like it's really skinny. What's it called?
It's just a changing tent.
Yeah, like a changing tent. So I got one of those. I set it up. I put the 5-gallon bucket with the lid on top. I put a bag in there, a lining. I put a lining bag in it, trash bag lining, and then I put the lid on top of it so that you could sit down. And then I actually, I had kitty litter, so that when you're done doing your business, you get a scoop of kitty litter and you put it in there. And I kid you not, there was no smell. Like the smell was gone. So that's my little tip, my little trick is use kitty litter. Actually, it was my wife's idea, to give full credit. She'll be grateful that I gave a plug out and shout out. But I'm telling you, hygiene is one of the number one things people forget in emergencies. And that's great that you have that bucket for using the bathroom.
Does this bucket come with a bacteria kit that actually nullifies the?
I think I have some in the first aid. I'll have to double check the first aid. I think there's some.
We've got one similar to this that it has in the kit. It has these little nullification packets where you pour that in and it'll nullify the smell a little bit, but it also nullifies the bacteria. Just starts breaking it down and killing it for you.
I'm not sure if I do, but that's actually a good idea. I could probably add that to it. I probably should add that to it.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So I'm like, as the guys know, I'm like the first person to like say, stay away from kits, build it yourself so that you know exactly what's in it. The nice thing is you're building these. It's not just some group in China stacking a bunch of stuff together and sending it to you. Those are the ones I hate the most. But like, if you put some thought into it, you can actually build a really good kit. And it's hard to find good kits online. So I applaud you for putting these together.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, again, the principle is just whatever's in your budget, and I have the kits there to make it a little more hassle free, but if by all means, like if you want to take the time to build your kit, that's great too.
Parrish, go back to the other page.
The gear page.
Yeah, this is cool. Okay. I'm gonna give a couple shout outs. Number one, Blackbeard fire starters on this page. They're one of my favorite fire starting kits.
Amazing.
I've got probably 3 of these things now, but the flint, the ferro rod, the ferrocium whatever,
Yeah.
is one of the better ones I've used. It's small, it's lightweight, it sparks real fast every
It's
time.
amazing. Yeah.
The lighter's cool, but I'm not a big lighter guy.
Yeah.
It's really cool to have that, 4-point hex arc, whatever lighter.
Yeah.
But also, I can't see very well, but those power stations, is that Blue Eddy?
No, those are Lion.
Are those Lion Energy? Okay.
Yeah.
And then the bulbs, these bulbs are pretty legit because you can put it in any regular socket.
Light
When
bulbs.
the power goes out, they've actually stored battery power in it,
Yeah.
right?
Funny story. Yeah, funny story. So if you connect it to an LED, has to be an LED like socket. We were changing. My wife and I were changing out some, just our fixtures, and we forgot that we had those bulbs in there, so we shut the power off, and we're like, "Why the heck is the stupid light still on?" we were like, my wife was so irritated, like, "What the heck is wrong with the stupid light? I shut the power off," and she couldn't figure out like what was going on. And then you're like, "Oh, well, it shows that they work pretty good." If so they're supposed to last a few hours. So if there was a power outage, they're supposed to last a few hours. So you can use your light switch.
3 to 5 extra hours. Yeah,
light switch. So they're pretty sweet. They work really
awesome.
well. And then I got some You've probably heard of BioLite.
Yep.
They're great company. They're what I like about BioLite is they're a hybrid of outdoor adventure / prep. So you can use them for both. The fire pits are really cool because they're just super portable, light. They have a built-in
Is that like a rocket
fan.
stove, or how did it set?
Yeah, it's just like a little portable. Yeah, just those little legs, and you can just put wood or charcoal in there, and then it has like a battery pack on the side, and has a built-in fan too to keep the flames going.
Is that the one that can charge your phone from the heat that comes from it?
Yeah, these
dude,
little Camp Stove Plus, yeah, they're awesome. It's
That
the
is cool.
The fire actually creates electricity. It's really cool.
And
Super
then
cool.
does it store it in that little side
Yeah.
thing, and then you can charge it even after the fire's out? Can you still use it?
Because the battery, that orange thing is a battery pack, so it just stores the energy there, just like a normal battery pack, like a battery station. That's basically
That's something that a lot of people need to remember. I mean, I know we're totally, at some point, if the grid goes down and EMPs hit, when the electronics are not going to be a big thing, but shoot, be prepared for having things go wrong and still having power and still having your electronics. Like, why not have some sources to recharge your phone or recharge your, I mean, if the cell phone towers aren't going to work, you're not going to be able to communicate, but dang, how many of us need to have a game that's on our phone to just entertain us for the 3 hour, for the 7 hours of the day while we're waiting for the food to get ready or whatever. So there's some entertainment. There's some games to keep on your phone for entertainment. So download a few games as part of your preps before you have this stuff, the internet go down, so that you can have something to do on your phone. While you're there. So the next one I think is the most important. I think that finally the third category here is food storage. After I was listening to a podcast this morning about a guy who I think it was Teddy Daniels. Anyways, he's a military guy, pretty famous, got a Purple Heart. Well, he ran for Congress, I think, as well. Anyways, he was talking about how all the food plants and the food storage and the farmers and everything just going out. And like, if you don't have food storage, you're going to be in a bad way. And he was talking about how it relates to China taking over the farms in America and these other things. So there's a little bit of that in there, but regardless of what countries or conspiracies are happening, the reality of food is still there. So I would say have a variety. Like looks like Ready Hour, the pre-made kits, you got a, different like veggie, you got a meat kit, you got a bunch of other kits, 4-week kit, 3-month kit, 6-month kit, all excellent stuff. And
gluten-free.
What's that?
Gluten-free 1 week. So
nice.
That's cool. A lot of places don't have a gluten-free option, so that's really cool.
Yeah. Ready Hour is a good product. Scott, would you agree?
Yeah,
they're decent.
I actually used to sell a company that took over Ready Hour. The prior company that was making it before it became Ready Hour, I was actually having them pack my own food storage product with Grab and Go. But But then my business partner went out of the country, so we had to shut down the business because she had all the contracts. So crazy story. But then, yeah, they shut down their food storage prep, and then we found out later that it turned into Ready Hour, and they changed all the recipes and did a bunch of different things. So just crazy changes. But yeah, it's good stuff. I still have a whole bunch of their old stuff.
Yeah, they've been great to work with. Very responsive, great company. I like working with them.
And they're based here in Utah.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
So many Utah-based food storage companies. I mean, there's you can throw a rock and you'll hit one.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's excellent. Matt, tell us a little bit about what do you see coming down the pipeline. We got a few more minutes here before we end this episode. So what are you seeing in terms of, or what are you feeling is probably going to be happening in the next, I don't know, 3 to 5 years? What do you see? What do you feel like some of the most important preps to get ready for, and what are you getting ready for? What are your next steps?
Wow. What a good question. I mean, the obvious ones are food and water, right? I think the signs are right in front of our face. The farm is being destroyed. How fragile where you live can be. Does that natural disasters? I mean, there was that one in California too. What is it? Hurricane Hillary or something that.
Yeah.
The memes for that one are
Yeah,
excellent.
I know. It's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of flooding. It's funny because California was like, I saw this guy, I think Babylon Bee did it, and they had like one side of it was like, California is in a drought, horrible problems, can't save water. And then on the other side was, California is being flooded, and it's too much water. And it's like, make up your mind, California. It was like one of those funny memes that Babylon Bee, they're famous for.
Get rid of gas cars. We need electric. Oh, wait, you're using too much electric. Let's turn off your power. They're just a fun state, but
yeah, for real.
But I think we're going to be for some chaos. I mean, we got the election. I think what is this election coming up? I think there's going to be some gnarly stuff going on with just back and forth between the two parties. I just think where the economy is, I feel like it's a brink. I mean, it's just a ticking time bomb of what any day now, of whether it's a massive stock market crash, whether it's, hopefully Utah's unique, where we live, just because we're so strong with our economy, and even the housing is still moving forward, but you never know. I mean, I don't know where you guys stand on like World War III potential, but it just seems like,
I think it's out of ways. I think right now we're more stuck with the false economy that we have. Like Utah seems stable, but it's the most heavily invested, false valued businesses that are here. They're all digital businesses. They have no real physical product, and it's all speculation. And I think Utah is a lot more vulnerable economically than we're led to believe.
Yeah.
I mean, the number one issue we have with our local economy is the housing market. And I follow that like crazy because I'm a former realtor. But what's interesting is you cannot find a house for sale. No one's willing to move, really. I mean, it's just the homes that the pre-existing home are moving so fast, or they're not moving at all because they're overly priced. And the ones that are coming up and coming available are all the builders' homes. Yeah. But half their inventory is going to investors. So, and
people are scared to death to leave those 3% loans.
Yeah, there's such a housing shortage in Utah, and there's such a demand here.
And everyone's moving in with the in-laws, or it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely not safe here. I mean, anything can happen here. I guess to answer your original question, it's kind of a thick answer. I see more supply chain issues. It looks like they're trying to throw COVID back into our face again, pushing the vaccine agenda right now, like just the prepping for fall and winter. So I could see more of that mask wearing pandemic type stuff coming up the next year or two, or maybe I could see another pandemic, a bigger one that they're working, that.
Well, even if they have lockdowns, we need to, regardless of whether or not they have them, we should prepare as if they were going to have them and have food, have at least 30 days pantries, and then have those longer term storage stuff. 100%.
And that's another thing about food that I don't think people really like think about initially, is it's not only for a natural disaster. It's for like, if you lost your job, you have food in your
Number
house.
one reason.
Yeah. But people don't, they think like, oh, I don't want to buy food because what if, I don't think there's going to be an earthquake anytime soon. We're fine. Or there's not going to be a flood. But it's like, what if you lost your job and you don't have any money to buy food? Like, you have food. If you buy it, you can feed your family for a month or two. I don't think that's just, and you sound like you guys have a great circle. So most of your followers probably like, well, yeah, duh, if you lose your job. But a lot of people I talk to, I don't think that's not the number one reason.
It's not on the radar at all.
It's just, oh, I don't want to pay because I don't think there's going to be anything crazy that's going to happen. I'm like, well, if you lose your job, having food to live off of I actually talked to a lady a couple of days ago, and that's what she said. He's like, we lost our job and it was really hard during COVID, but we actually used our food storage to get through it. I'm like, that's awesome. Good for you.
That's my life. Like, what's funny is Yahoo Finance actually says that the current stat is that if you lose your job, it takes about 3 months to replace your job. And depending on where you are, that might be longer or shorter, or how demand your skills are. But it's funny because if you have a 3-month supply of food at minimum, that's one less thing you have to worry about during that 3 months.
Yeah, because you can eat.
Yeah. The panic of not having food for your kids, that's scary.
Yeah.
Getting through power outage for a week because of an earthquake or a storm, like those are a lot easier to deal with than where's our next meal going to come from.
Right.
And that 3-month supply of food, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just don't think about it. So I'm glad you brought that up, because it is, some people, it's an afterthought. Other people, it's a primary condition of their preps, right? We need to have at least a 90-day pantry and then go from there.
Yeah.
So, well, I appreciate you being with us today, Matt. This has been fun to get to know you a little bit better, and also to hear a little bit about your story.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys too. It's been fun I know Paris has been trying to get me on for a while, so I appreciate you sticking with me. I'm sorry it's taken me a minute to get on with you, but
been a disaster.
Awesome.
Well, Matt, one of the fun things is now that when people tell you, I don't believe in food storage, or I don't think it's necessary and whatever, you can say, hey, you guys need to listen to Prepper Talk Radio, because you're clearly not educated. You're clearly not hearing the right voices or listening to the right voices. So spread the word about our podcast, and we'll spread the word about your store, and together we all work together. We're actually increasing in our downloads. So I wanted to say thanks to all those who are listening, all those who are part of our listener group, and our Facebook group is growing actually as well. We've got over 1,000 people in our Facebook group. Our downloads are increasing. Our YouTube channel is growing. Slowly but surely, we're getting the word out, and we're helping. And the more that we can get the word out, the better. And the more that we have resources like you, Matt, and your store, the better as well. So please, we've had a couple other guys on here that run stores. Whether you use whatever link you use, whatever store you go to, do a little comparison, and but get yourself the stuff that you need for your preps. That's the most important thing. And then after you get the gear, get the stuff, practice it, use it, try it out, cook with it, do what you need to do to be ready. The last thing you want to do is have an emergency hit and you're like, oh shoot, how do I turn on the generator? No, you need to already know how to turn the generator on. And so thank you so much for listening. You've been listening to Prepper Talk Radio, radio for the ready-minded, where we focus on God, family, and country. We've had Matt Garlick on with us today from NorthStar Survival. Click the links in the description below to support the show. And we're super grateful to have you. Until the next show, have a fantastic week. Stay prepared. Stay ready-minded.